midline of the forearm. During a normal motion, like pronation, the ulna is supposed to abduct. If it abducts too much, too quickly, that's a segmental control problem. So to fix that, we stabilize so that even though it's normal, we don't let it excessively come out, which biomechanical correction, let's say it works, we're saying that something's not controlling this from excessively going this way. So that's at least the underlying kinesiology behind why are we pushing it laterally.
And structurally, just to jump classes, since it is a segmental give, what muscle is most likely failing to allow this translation?
Is it your anconeus or something?
Of course it is.
There's no other muscles in the elbow.
Yeah, Rush gave it away, kind of.
But that's it.
It was a total setup. I completely admit it.
Yes, it is. It is a muscle.
I'll
Okay. So that's the local stabilizers, and that's the movement that we're worried about. So you can take these same concepts. They have a problem gripping. Great, you do it when you do the mobilization. Great, and then grip forming. Okay, it gets better. And that's what, when we learn some Mulligan techniques in a little bit, that's what they're founded on, is that there's a positional fault of the ulna. And so we're just pushing the ulna where it should be, repeating the motion, which used to be hurt, comparable sign, now is pain-free, to reteach the area. So that's why I would think segmental control dysfunction. So segmental being that proximal ulna, elbow control being, it's more of a gross elbow control issue. And if we check out a biomechanical correction and it works, we need to assess the joint. And if any of the external stabilization works, we need to check muscles, strength, stabilization, not motor control in this case. C-spine. Common one for C-spine would be lower cervical. If we're looking around C7, radial nerve going down the arm, it commonly goes over the lateral epicondyle region and contributes pain signals to people with lateral epicondylalgia. So that's why we do focus on the elbow. Because remember, you don't just need numbing or tingling to have an issue. You could still have pain in the region, so it's a common contributor. Same thing when we get to the leg. We're going to have common nerve contributions to pain problems for what we would typically think is a local pathology, like plantar fasciitis is a common one, heel pain, which commonly has a contribution from the nerves in your back. So that gives you your breakouts. Should be a little bit more focused than the shoulder one, a lot less stuff to do here. So just be systematic, go through each of those. We did say don't worry about glenohumeral joint for this. Doesn't mean in real life you don't have to worry about it. What person would you decide to do a posterior glenohumeral biomechanical correction on if they had an elbow problem? Overhead athlete, maybe. Anything in your exam with the shoulder that maybe you would want to?
Frozen shoulder.
Not a diagnosis. What would you find in your objective exam that maybe you would think, I'm going to do a posterior glide during my functional testing?
During a push-up?
It could be posture or, yeah, palpation. They could be positional fault, anteriorly seated. Okay, maybe I'm going to check out the GH. So even though we gave you a more isolated list, those mechanics stay the same. There's nothing, you just need a reason to do it. That's all we're asking. We're giving you some probability things, making it a little easier on you. Doesn't mean you can't do the other stuff if you have a reason to. We just don't want you to do it just because. People with elbow issues usually have scapular contributions, weaknesses, creating excessive stress at the elbow. So for a student package, let's look at the scapula as a common theme. If you have a reason to do GH, great. Neck, common theme there. Local to the elbow, common theme. So we're just trying to give you the probabilities, but there's still a reason you're doing each of these things. Good. All right, breakouts. Structural differential, we're going to go over neural-dural today. We're going to do some neurodynamics in a little bit, but let's go through our joint mobility assessments first. So grade 1 through, we're not doing 5s, but grade 1 through 4, same exact thing. If we're doing this at your radial ulnar joint, humeral ulnar, proximal versus distal radial ulnar, do you think that you would get to the end range faster or slower than the glenohumeral joint? Why? It is a smaller range, yep. So just be aware that your forces are a little bit messier, but the concepts stay the same. You know, it's still the oscillations, what you feel is the end range, all of that's appropriate, but there's a lot less give within the joint for these joints that you're working on in the elbow. So, the treatment, which we'll get to at the interventions, they have plenty of pretty pictures, all that good stuff. We'll get to it later. Let's just do the assessment. Somebody jump up.